everybody, welcome back, and yes, I'm going to say it again, to another beautiful sunny day, but cold in the Arizona desert. And I have been busting my butt the last few days, something which, quite frankly, I really don't like doing. I've had a bunch of client work that I've gotten done. Really don't want to do that stuff anymore, but you know what? Pays the bills or helps pay them. So I have been out here working on this. Some things I really haven't gotten on camera and video that much. In the interior, I pulled it apart and I replaced the bad voltmeter. I installed a tack and I replaced the Bluetooth adapter. I had to pop the dash forward a bit to get to the wiring in the back, and I redid some wiring in there to the speakers and other things that wasn't making me happy, but that's done. And I got another alternator because that one's still putting out 15 1/4 to 15.5 volts, and that's not acceptable. I had Amazon send me an identical made for AC Delco alternator, brand new, for 82 bucks. And yes, I think they're brand new. I think they're so cheap and brand new because they know every damn one of them is defective. But before I get started today, I want to check the cold start, because it's about 42, 43 degrees out this morning. This hasn't run today, so let's see if I got the choke on the new Weber set properly. So I'm going to pump it about 3 times, maybe 4, because I think that's the magic number. There's 3, and it should start and maintain about 2,000 RPM. And we're going to leave it there for about 10 seconds. And then I'm going to tap it, and it should drop to about 1,000. And it should stay there until I'm ready to drive, or I could probably drive it there. That's around 10 seconds. Let's tap it. And that's the second stage of the high idle cam at around 1,000. And it can sit and warm up there. I don't want to let it warm up too much because I do want to replace that alternator. Although it wouldn't hurt to have a little warmth while I'm under the hood. While I'm waiting for it to warm up, let me tell you about my new tack. I wanted a tack, and I wanted an inexpensive one, because a tack is not really important in this vehicle. So I didn't want to spend $70, $100 for a tachometer. So I went to the usual, as AVE says, the usual scumbags. And I found, and didn't want a tack that goes from 0 to 8,000 or 0 to 10,000 RPM, because this vehicle will almost never see the north side of 4,000 RPM. So I wanted one that went to 5,000 or 6,000, and I found this one. And I didn't realize this was meant for industrial use. I thought this down here was going to be a digital readout of the actual RPM. It's not. It says H. It's an hour meter. I think that's hilarious. It's also got a bit of lag to it, but I don't care. I can live with that. And I designed and 3D printed the mount for it. I'm not 100% happy with it. It's got a little more wobble to it than I like. But I had already had this piece down here made for when I had the O2 sensor in it. And I just reused it. And I forgot that I kind of wanted to make it bigger. What worked good for the 50 millimeter O2 gauge doesn't work that great for this 85 millimeter tachometer. And but other than that, it seems to work good. There's a button on the back that lets you change the colors and all that, and lets you set how many multiple numbers of multiplication it is to get the right reading. And I've got one of those little handheld tacks that, you know, you put a strip of reflective tape on it. So I did that to the on the crank pulley. So I just used that tack to match this tack. So let's tap it again. It's been a few minutes. Let's tap it again and see if it'll drop down to its normal idle, which should be 750, something like that. A little bit low. It's still cold. You can see the lag in the tack. Can't say as I care for that, but you know what? It's got about a 1.5 second lag. There we go. That's idling about where it should now. All right, let's switch it off and let's swap that alternator out. And look at the current output of the alternator. It's putting out over 15 amps just sitting here in an idle with a fully charged with a fully charged battery. That's just nuts. All right, got the alternator, got my tools here, and I know what you guys are down there. You guys are down there typing, but Chuck, just buy a new regulator and bearings for your own alternator. And yes, I could have done that, but how would, I mean, looking at the instructions that came with this alternator, they think 15 volts is fine. 13 to 15, little smiley face. 15's not fine. 15's overvolting. Sorry. And this one's actually, the old one it's on, it's actually putting out 15.5. So no, that's not acceptable. But apparently they think it is. Honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do. If this one does the same thing, I'll probably just leave it. I'm not going to keep doing it. And I know some of you are saying, but Chuck, just mount it to a vise and spin it and test it. Yes, by the time I could set up a test thing on the bench, I could have the stupid thing in. So I don't know. I'm just going to slap it in and we'll see what we get. Guess what's in the boxes? If you guessed 2 defective alternators going back to Amazon, you'd be correct. I didn't get it on video, but I installed the replacement yesterday, and it had no output at all. Zero, zip, zilch. It did absolutely nothing. And they're going back, and I'm just going to buy a reman down from my local O'Reilly. Hopefully they're tested. So yes, it is a beautiful morning in the Arizona desert. I have yet another alternator. This one is a reman from a local O'Reilly's, reman by a company called, can't even see it on there, Wilson. And I'm hanging on to the original alternator that came out of it because I figure if this one's no good from Wilson, I am going to do, and this was a reman too, this one that came out of it, probably 30 years old. If this one's bad too, I'm going to take it back and I'm going to set up a test bench in my workshop, and I'm going to have to rebuild it myself because this is just ridiculous. This is the 3rd one I'm doing, and I do not want to have to do a 4th one. So, nothing to it. Let's get it back in there. Oh, and I've unplugged and replugged the plug in the alternator so many times I broke the tab off it. So now I have to replace that as well. So let's do that first while the alternator is not down there in the way of it. I would like to note that the new alternator, the reman from Wilson, says 12 volt 63 amp pass, set point 14.61 volts, which I still think is a little bit too high, but acceptable. Max 74 amp. So it says pass on it. That means somebody tested it, right? All right, once again, I have an alternator in place. This is such a fun job. You wouldn't think it is, you know, because it's right there in plain sight, but it is fiddly. Because the belt has to go on before you put the bolts in, because there is not enough adjustment to put the alternator on and then do the belt. Next time I do the belt, I'm going to have to try and find a belt that's half an inch longer or so. But what I got right now, that's the way it is. Plus there's a spacer that has to go inside the bracket at the top, and let me tell you, that's hard to get in and have it and keep dropping it down in the dirt, of course. But I got it all back in. I got my new plug in. I got replaced some of these other wirings just because they started having too many splices in them, and I thought, what the hell, let's just get rid of them. So first test, do we have a draw at the battery? I am set on the amp scale. I'm in the amps plug. Let's check for a draw here. No, nothing, not a thing. Yay. So let's get that out. Let's connect this up. Let's start it and let's see what we get for an output. Okay. Reading 15 volts. I swear to God, I just cannot win. Maybe it's the gauge. Let's go see what I'm really getting. If I get another one that's pumping out 15 plus volts, I'm not going to know what to think. That's still more than I want to see, but you know something? I don't have any fight left in me. I just don't have any fight left in me to do this. I know the battery is discharged a bit. Maybe that will come down once the battery charges. Man, I'm telling you, what do you got to do? Yeah, I might as well just kept that first one. Let's do the test with the BM300 battery monitor. Okay, let's recheck the test. Turn on all electrical equipment. Okay, headlights are on. Fan is on. And let's turn on the AC too. There's the AC blower as well. And test. Turn off all electrical equipment. There's the AC off. There's the heater, fan, blower. Lights are off. Keep engine at 2,500 to 3,000 RPM and test. Diode ripple test. Keep idling. Turn everything off. Click test. Charging voltage low at 14.8. High speed charging voltage 13.9, 13.49. Standard range should be 13.5. And diode ripple is okay. You know what? There's no fight left in this dog over this alternator. I'm going to accept that because I'm not going to do it a fourth time. That's just going to have to be acceptable. Anyway, my new tack works. Some went right, somewhere along the line, huh? It has a hell of a lag to it. I mean, look at the lag in it. I don't know that I care, but I mean, I'm not drag racing this thing. I'm just kind of curious as to what the RPM is in different gear ranges. So anyway, I am beat. I am thoroughly and completely beat. So I'm calling it a day. I'm going to go in. It's lunchtime. I'm going to go in and eat and contemplate the errors of a misspent life. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. You want to tell me I'm an idiot or I should put a fourth one in? Go ahead and let me know. Bye for now.